Wired Axcess.
We'll do it live.
Wired Axcess.
Do it live.
Wired Axcess.
We'll do it live.
Wired Axcess.
Welcome to Wired Axcess Podcast. I'm your host, DJ K DuB Omaha. We are now a part of that Heard at One Productions. We greatly appreciate you joining us, not for this episode, but all the episodes all in one. We can't do what we do without you, where we are just taking you a little closer, a little get to know of your local Nebraska, people who have some connection to Nebraska, coaches, players, and all that, and let them share their journey. Of course, you have seen us for the past 4 years. We've been on Heard at Sports. We moved over to Heard at One because they're just rearranging some things because, yes, our podcast is about sports, but what it is also about is stories, life stories, and getting the coaches and getting the players to give a real point of view to you who watch just what it takes to be at that level, to do the things that they do. It's not easy. It's not something that is for everybody. Today we have Wayne State coach Logan Masters. Wayne State, man, the Wildcats, your alumni, but your story goes well beyond that. And of course, we made a connection, those that have watched us, we made a connection with Coach Held a while ago, and you guys are another college that's local. And what I love to do here on Wired Axcess is bring to the limelight, I think, sometimes things that get overshadowed, right? Nebraska, we know that Lincoln, UNL is the big college. But things are happening now in football, especially where things are tightening down. Your numbers are tightening down. Your opportunities are tightening down. And I think sometimes schools and colleges like yourself sometimes get overshadowed. But what I love is I get to share the journey. I get to share the story. And Logan, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it. And yeah, you're right. Sometimes smaller level schools, football, specifically other sports as well, you don't get the limelight maybe of the big schools, the big FBS Power 2, whatever it is now. But these guys work just as hard, and which, I mean, it makes sense. We have a lot of local kids, and so they work hard and do a great job of representing our football program, our school, and then their communities back home. So really appreciate taking time today to talk a little about Wayne State.
So, of course, your connection to Wayne State goes well beyond just being the coach. You're an alumni, but you grew up just across the way in Storm Lake. You're an Iowa guy. What brought you, when you were growing up, to Wayne State? How did you get connected with a college like Wayne State?
Yeah, I didn't know Wayne State existed. I went to high school in Storm Lake, Iowa. I'm from a small town over city. It's 500 people. My mom was a teacher. She could see the small town was kind of dying, so she got a job in Storm Lake. So we drove 25 miles every day to school, me and her. And yeah, I didn't know Wayne State existed. Social media wasn't really around, so you get offered by schools and stuff like that. Well, until signing day, no one knows where anybody's going or what they're doing, which seems prehistoric, I guess, now with the way social media is. But like after I signed, it was in the paper. I found out that like half my teachers were Wayne State grad, a bunch of people in Storm Lake. So it really kind of opened my eyes. And all of a sudden, like Sioux City local news was what we got in Iowa, and Wayne State was on TV all the time. And so really kind of I started paying attention to it. So came over here, one of the few places I thought I was a good baseball player back in the day too. So Wayne State let me play receiver and be a pitcher on the baseball team, and obviously baseball didn't work out as well as football. But I came over here, Coach McLaughlin, who was a Nebraska high school football coaching legend, one of the, maybe the only coach, or there isn't too many that's won a state title at 3 different high schools here in Nebraska. Got to play for him. And then Coach Sir, who another Omaha high school coaching legend at Papio, was my offensive coordinator. So got to be a part of that. And then ever since I was little, I knew I wanted to coach. I was a weirdo. I didn't grow up about wanting to play in the NFL. I grew up wanting to coach in the Rose Bowl and be a coach. And my dad played college football, and he had a bunch of black and white VHSs. Well, on Saturday mornings, I'd watch those instead of watching cartoons and things like that. So I've kind of always known I wanted to coach. And Coach McLaughlin, when I got done playing, I knew I wasn't good enough to keep playing. So he asked if I wanted to be a GA. And shoot, now looking back, basically since 2006, I've been at Wayne, Nebraska all but 3 years. So 17 years, I guess, doing the math. So Wayne's my new home. Been here a long time, raising a family now. Absolutely love it. The people here are great, and it's been a heck of a ride. And if you would ask me at 18 when I came here if I expected to live in Wayne for this long, I'd say you're nuts. But right now I love it. And I'm blessed, and I truly believe I have maybe the best job in America.
Well, what I like what you said there is, given the people who might be looking for colleges, given even the current players, the idea of there's stuff beyond the game that you constantly learn from the coaches that you had that have now groomed you to who you are, but also push that winning mentality. We, of course, have had Coach Sir on this podcast and got to share his story because I went to Papio all the way up until high school, but I knew of his legend, and I knew of how when I was in middle school, like, these are the small town things that people forget nowadays because social media is everywhere and the places are so big. But we would walk down to the football field, and you would walk after the game up a mile and a half like it was nothing to a Pizza Hut, and everybody would do it. The whole town was there. That's what I love about Wayne. You guys have I came to a game this last year, so I greatly appreciate that. And what I loved was the town is involved. And I think those are sometimes the limelight or the things that people forget about the game of football is it brings cities together. And especially these small towns. When you think of Wayne and you think of your connection with Storm Lake, how much did you have to change going to just a little bigger of a city than what you were living in?
Um, I mean, the culture shock right away. So at Elbert City in 8th grade, I had 16 kids in my class, and I went to Storm Lake. I had 163. So right there was a total change. Like, you'd have 3 different sections of English or whatnot, and math and all that kind of stuff. So you never had class of the same people, where you're used to doing everything with those 16 people. Was a little bit different. And you get to college, so um, not much was different there. And the one constant though is you're right. Some people can view Wayne small town, 6,000-7,000 people, 4,000 students, as you're going to a cornfield with no Wi-Fi, no running water. It's the end of the world. It's like a concentration camp. It's not that at all. Because you're a rock star, and that's the same thing that I really appreciate. Your high school, you go out to eat, someone sees you, they're going to talk to you about the game, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, track. Well, same thing here. We try and do a lot in the community, but our kids go to the grocery store, they go out to eat. People are going to know who they are. They're going to go up and talk to them, just like in a big time school. You get the same thing here, but there's probably a little bit more investment just because they see you more. We're around the community more. Obviously, there's many people. Usually, smaller schools are in smaller towns and things like that. Little kids coming up to you because you go to their recesses, or you read to them, and the kids are coming up and they're their biggest fans. And now at recess, because we do that stuff, they're the Wayne State Wildcats, and they're number 0 Dawson Forgey and stuff like that, which is what I think is really cool. And being really selfish, I have 4 boys myself. I go 11, 7, 5, and 3. Now the 3-year-old not quite there, maybe the 5-year-old not either, but they look up to these guys as their heroes. And I think it's really cool for my boys. And because I remember doing it, and when I was little in the hallways of school, you see the guys wearing the jerseys on Friday nights, and looking up to those and wanting to be like that. But I also think it's good for our players to have that little, I don't know if it's pressure, but expectation of being a role model, and never knowing who giving a high five to some second grader at school could change his whole outlook on the day, the week, and totally change how he looks at his life, as crazy as that sounds. So that's the special part about being in a town like Wayne that came over from Storm Lake, where the town's so heavily involved. And I think it's our duty to give back in any little way, shape, or form we can to help the next generation, or embrace the older generation that's seen the changes through Wayne State College and Wayne State football specifically.
So, of course, you've been there for a while. The connection to Nebraska and even Iowa, we'll even count that, the preps, the Nebraska preps, the Iowa preps, is huge. You have to really impact 500 miles all around you. How important is it to build that culture at your school to make these kids understand how they can come to in-state or close to state, be close enough to home, but also get some good football in? Because I've said it multiple times on multiple podcasts. The Midwest is the best football, and if you're not seeing it on the championship after championship after championship, no matter what league or division you're at, all the way up from D1 all the way down to Iowa Western at JUCO. You guys are making names in states and letting these kids have opportunities to do it where they still get that family love back.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right. This is we're in a great recruiting place. We call it the state of Wayne. We put a dot on Wayne, America, and we want to try and dominate 250 miles around Wayne in recruiting. And in Nebraska, Iowa, people don't want to hear this, but really we're the same people. It's just a river divides us, and Nebraska, you're obviously a Nebraska fan. In Iowa, there's two schools. You got Iowa State and Iowa, and kind of in a little triangle. We don't like each other. Well, you remove those. We're all built on being blue collar, working hard. Like you have a problem, you just work hard. You put your head down and just go to work. And that's the thing I loved. I think that really translates in football. Yeah, you want as much talent as possible. However, like you don't get any points for running a fast 40 with your bench press. It's about getting guys to come work together, play together, living them out in the field, doing it for each other. The loyalty, the camaraderie, the brotherhood. Like it's really, in this part of America, I think that's truly still very, very important. And that's kind of, I think, why football in this area has been really good. It's talented kids that know how to work hard, that aren't afraid to work, but want to do it more so for their buddy next to them than more the accolades for themselves. And when you can get that rolling and you get that built up, then not that you don't have that in other parts of the country, not saying that, but if you get some distance kids to come in, they see how important that is and what your team's built on. It's a lot easier to keep that building than have it be the other way, where you bring in a bunch of distance kids and try and change the majority of them to the way we're wired here in the Midwest. And you're right. I mean, you look at every level of football, the national champs were above the Mason-Dixon line. It was Northern football's kind of taken over, and I think it goes back to the way people work, the hard working, the toughness. You don't sit there and complain. You find a solution to get better and find a way to make it work, and for us to win football games.
You, of course, look at your history there at Wayne State and you look at everything that's kind of up and down and going through the ups and downs. What do you think has been the easiest thing to keep steady keel, and what has been probably the hardest through the years that you've had?
Um, the easiest is probably the love for this place. Obviously, I went here; it changed my life for the better. It's opened up so many avenues for me in my career and professionally, personally, spiritually, all different things. It's just been really good to me. So, like, it's easy for me to come to work every day and want to share that with our current players, former players, future players. That's probably the easiest. The hardest one, I mean, and I wouldn't say it's hard, but just adjusting. And that's just part of the evolving. It doesn't matter. You go from the 70s to 80s, 80s, 90s, 90s, 2000s to where we are now. Like, the game is constantly changing, whether that's recruiting and transfer portal, the way you train, just the style of play and things like that is just, again, I wouldn't say it's hard, but just adapting to that. And I joke around and I say it for a few things, but like that's coaching. Like the T-Rex is, excuse my language, is a badass dinosaur. Well, he's also extinct. Okay. So he couldn't find a way to adapt, and we don't want to become extinct here at Wayne State College. So find ways to adapt and still be the best versions of ourselves, still do it the old school way with hard work and building relationships and doing it with local guys. Is still very important, but finding new ways to attract those guys, get them to stick around, keep developing them, push them, different strategies, recruiting. So like I said, I wouldn't say it's hard, but I think that's the important thing to keep being successful is it's always changing. It could change from month to month, season to season, and trying to stay ahead of that curve to keep Wayne State in the forefront and how we do things so we can be as successful and help our players, more importantly, be successful in what they want to do and get them to be the best that they can be.
Of course, social media has changed, like you said before, talking about dad's tapes, VHS, talk about even all the way up to yours. Probably, I think you might have hit the early CDs or the DVDs that you could send and send out. When you look at social media, how do you, as a coach and your coaching staff, utilize it in the good? And how some things that players should know that you guys utilize it for that could hinder their possibilities? I know for myself, I use it to just try to get these players that I go out and watch, and I don't go to any particular person. I look at the gameplay and I just share the gameplay because the videotape don't lie, right? Even though nowadays, and I hate to say it because it ruins what I love to do, is you do have people ruin it with AI made videos that show someone be someone they're not, and then I think it's just going to hurt the game more than anything else. But it also hurts this part of the process where sometimes the videos that we might share as social media influencers on the sports side, it could change your guys' point of view to even want to look at that stuff. How's your guys' adaptation been with all that?
Yeah, I mean, I this generation's got a lot harder than like I did, just because there's so many more resources at our fingertips, and the pressure's way turned up on them. I mean, like I said, no one knew I was offered by Wayne State and what other schools offered me way back when. Well, now, right, wrong, and different, the first thing you do is you post it on Twitter. Well, now all of a sudden someone sees that, and now all of a sudden, well, why didn't I get it? And you start questioning, and it's real hard to just like focus on yourself, control what you can control, just because you get on social media and there's so many different distractions and things that can really get you on the wrong path and turn your mindset the wrong way. Instead of focusing on you, you start kind of having, I don't want to say jealousy, but that envy because you think you're better. And that's the way all players should think. Like, you should think you're the best. That's part of being good, is the belief that no one's better than you. And now you can't let that not let you make you work, and you still got to be humble with it. But I think this generation, in that regard, it's a lot harder. And at the same time, us coaches then have more resources because everything's on Huddle. Okay, I mean, and then there's on top of it, there's different people on the sidelines filming different angles. Well, you get all kinds of different views of game film highlights and things like that. And yeah, the AI thing, I mean, we try to stay away from the more just keep it on Huddle. I know it can still be doctored with and things like that, but I truly believe, especially in Nebraska and Iowa, the high school coaches aren't going to let kids put doctored AI film on their Huddle because, I mean, just like anything in life, if you lie to get to, and you're not quite, we'll say qualified for where you get to, you're going to get exposed. And that's not good. That's not going to be an experience, more importantly for the student athlete, but also for the coaches that recruit them there and things like that. So you might pull the wool over their eyes from the get-go, but once they get on campus, like, there's no button on your shoulder pads to make you go a little faster or jump a little higher or get a little stronger and things like that. So we try to just stick to the high school Huddle film, just because, again, I think this part of the country has like strong charactered men leading their programs, and so I don't think they'd let them put the doctor film up and things like that. But from the beginning of time, though, like even back the DVD days, like people might hit little like 1.5, play a little bit faster on skill guys, so they run a little bit faster, and instead you're watching the referee that can absolutely fly. You're thinking something's not right here. So that's been going on for, I think, as long as maybe highlight film's been going on. So yeah, we can say AI is a new thing, but shoot, my generation used to try and cheat it too. We all want to be a 4.4 and a little bit bigger.
Be that quicker one.
Yeah.
Of course, with your coaching staff, it's very important for them to get out and about. How do players get the reach to you guys? Is it better for them to send emails, to send us? Like, if I am a person looking to be recruited, what's the easiest, best way to try to get on Wayne's map to be a possibility?
Yeah, social media is great. Like, I know Twitter's big for me. I'm not an Instagram guy. Some of our younger coaches have that. I feel like Facebook's like the old people, but social media, emails. If it's like, I don't have a problem. Cell phones, calling our office. Anyway, because let's be honest, just like recruits want to be wanted, us coaches want kids that want to be at our school. Well, if the kids are pretty similar and one wants to be here and show an interest, we're probably going to go after that kid more than a guy maybe that we're always having to reach out to that isn't very responsive, just because the whole mindset, if you come in, you're excited about being, in this instance, a Wildcat, okay, you're probably going to become the best version of yourself, and you're not going to be afraid to work, and just everything's going to be really good, more so than if we have to talk someone into it, and things like that. You don't quite have the same mindset to come in and attack things. So I think the biggest thing is be open about anything, because you never know. And the crazy part about today's recruiting, at 18, what one school may offer might not be what you want. Well, let's be honest, the world we live in 2 years, that can all change, and you might be looking for a new home, and your priorities may change, and this school might have had it. So you don't want to close those doors, burn those bridges throughout the recruiting process. And that's what I tell our coaches is I can remember a couple of schools when I told them I weren't going there. I was 17 years old, and I got my butt chewed by a grown man about I was making the dumbest decision of my life because I was choosing Wayne State, who weren't very good at the time, but again, I believed in Coach McLaughlin, Coach Sir, and all that, and it all worked out. Well, I don't want our guys doing that, because you never know on today's recruiting. And two, I can't tell a young man what makes him happy. Everyone beats their own drum, and everyone's got their own priorities, and what it might be a area study. It could be a relationship with the position coach. It could be colors. It could be a girl. I mean, you know what I mean? Well, that can all change. Well, I can't tell them what's important to them. That's up for them. And we just try to show what Wayne State can offer and help them reach their goals. And if they tell them, hey, we're going to go somewhere else, well, then I don't like it. I'm a competitive person. I'm going to be like, are you 100% sure? Well, if it doesn't work, don't forget about us. Okay. We're here for you, but best of luck. Unless you have to play us, then we want to kick your butt. But the other 10 games, best of luck, and go chase your goals. And I think that's kind of been kind of how we trying to approach some of that stuff with the ever-changing world of recruiting with student athletes today.
Well, and I like that you brought up the wanting to change. How is your coaching staff adjusted to the transfer portal, the understanding, the explanation, maybe preseason to these athletes to understand, but also possibly being a stepping stone for these athletes to get to where they want to go? Obviously, we know the stuff that at least locally here in Omaha, of what Iowa Western has promoted and how they get successful as a JUCO to let these opportunities get promoted, that they know that they only get them for maybe 18 months. How have you guys adjusted these past couple years more so than any other time, because it is so easy where you might only get a season or two out of a kid?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the new thing. And again, you just got evolving changes, as frustrating as it is. And people want to say the kids have changed. I truly don't think the kids have changed. I think the adults have changed. When sometimes when things get hard, like, it's easy to transfer. That's the easy route, and your problems just kind of go with you. It's not like you can leave them at the last school or whatnot. And whether that's high school, that's junior high, that's college. I mean, get the pros, you're kind of stuck there unless you can get out your contract, things like that. But the thing we kind of preach is you're here, be where your feet are, okay? And whether it's right or wrong, if you do good enough, we found out this year, okay? D1 schools, they don't care about the rules, okay? They're going to reach out and talk to you. If they really want you, okay, you're going to know. Now, the problem is you get some of these agents that will slide in the DMs, hey, pay me this, I'll get you this. Well, once you pay them, they really don't care. And so what we try to do is try to educate your kids now, and we really had to learn this past year. We got pretty hard, hit pretty hard. We had a pretty good team and players. We lost, 4 guys to D1 schools just off our defense alone. So kind of opened my eyes to it, how we need to coach up our guys, that if a bigger school wants you, guys, they aren't going to be afraid to reach out to your family members, your high school coach, just directly to you. Like you can say tampering, but that's today's football, unfortunately. And so if you just focus on what you can control, and that's being the best version of you, they're going to find you. And I have 4 boys, and if we had a young man, he's going to Central Florida, okay, he got paid $250,000 to go there. I would tell my son, who I love so much, if he's at Wayne State, that he should probably take it, because I don't know how many people out of college are going to get paid $250,000 their first year out. I mean, I've been out of college a few years, and I'm not making that much money. So it's totally changing. It's what do you want? And then on the flip side, we have some young men that turn down some D1 stuff that coaches reached out to because they love it here. They're close to graduating. We're going to get them the ball. You see, that's not a guarantee. And again, it goes back to the same thing out of high school. what's important to you? I mean, do you want to go there and possibly split time because there's a little bit more depth, or you stay at Wayne and be the dude that plays 50, 60 snaps? Each person's different. There's some people that just want the D1 logo, so they go back home, they can say they're a D1 player even though they never played, and that makes them happy. That's not saying it's right or wrong. That's just what they believe. There's other people that maybe you'd rather be at a small D3 school because the classes are small and it's not overwhelming there as far as people, and they get the ball a bunch or they get to play every snap. I mean, everyone's different. There's no right answer, and just trying to educate them on what is important to you. And what do you want? When you look back and you get old, because you can play basketball till you're 60, 70. You can run. You can play slow pitch softball. When football's over, it's over. Well, when you're sitting down at my age, do you have regrets? Okay. Well, if you think staying here at Wayne State and playing 60, 70 snaps is the best thing for you, then you need to do it. If you would live maybe in regret that, hey, I have these D1 offers and I want to go pursue it, and you think maybe, hey, what if? Well, then maybe you need to go try it, okay? But sometimes the grass isn't always greener, and that's the tough part, again, with these kids is shoot, at 22, I didn't know what the heck I wanted to do, let alone now you have adults pulling at you all different directions, trying to get you to go here and making promises that maybe they can fulfill, but there's not a lot of promises you can make in coaching until you get them on campus and get them into the program and do things. So it's been different, but that's kind of how we try and approach it, and try to be honest and transparent as possible, just because like I don't think there's any good in lying to anybody about anything when you do this stuff, because that just can get hurt feelings. And again, being a little selfish here, but we need our student athletes to be the best versions of them. Well, if there's a little doubt because they feel like we're liars, we're not going to get the best out of them.
You guys, of course, have a lot going on with the fact of the NIL and all these big changes with D1 only allowing so many athletes. Has that part helped or hurt you guys in your process to continue to find the athletes that you're looking for?
I don't think the name, image, likeness so much has really hit Division II a ton, where it's a game changer. Yet you hear of a couple schools that have it, but it's more for the top 1% more so than the roster. I think this, and we're still kind of learning this new rule on the big schools getting 105 scholarships, and each school is a little bit different. Do you bring local kids? I do think the where it's probably helped us the most is just the pressures of the upper level coaching is they'd rather roll the dice on a transfer than a high school kid, because he's been in a college program, college weight room, just a little bit more used to it than investing in a high school kid. So I think the high school talent has been better these last couple of years in Division II, which again is why you're seeing some guys get the opportunities to transfer up, because 4 or 5 years ago, before the portal really got hot and heavy, these guys probably were FCS borderline FBS players. And I think that's probably the biggest change is there's a lot of really good high school players now that we get to recruit and get on our campus and become part of our program, that before the portal was around didn't really happen because they got the bigger scholarships.
You talk about the portal also for you guys. Do you guys how easy is it for you to go looking in the portal, or do you feel like you guys have enough coming up through where it doesn't have to be, because obviously the bigger schools sometimes, I mean, I know people say it all the time for even Nebraska. They need to get a D-line from the portal or else.
Yeah.
But for you guys are growing the culture of we're going to develop and grow you to get what we need sometimes. How has that kind of changed what you guys are able to do or looking to do?
Yeah, I mean, and everyone's got their own way to do it. Here at Wayne State, what we believe is we're going to be high school dominant in recruiting and try and build within. And then when you get to the transfers, we kind of divide up into the two different ways, okay? Like, let's say a kid from Omaha goes to an FCS school. Well, he wants to transfer. Well, we would probably recruit him out of high school. We've talked to his parents. Obviously, we know his high school coach. To us, we'll take that kid any day of the week. Doesn't matter if it's really a position of need or not. And that's not a true transfer, because that's a kid we know all about. we've known about him and he knows about us, and usually he's letting us know that he's transferred and he's interested before it's not us getting onto the portal and ciphering through thousands of names and seeing what position, what they're about. So like those type of kids we will take every day, whether it's a position or need or not. We'll try and find a way to get them to be a Wildcat, and it's some of our best transfers have been those guys because they just they're going to fit in. They might have high school teammates here. They're just like I said before, Iowa, Nebraska kids. We're all the same. Okay, we're built on hard work, being blue collar. They fit perfectly. Then on the other side, we have the true portal kids where let's just be honest. Okay, like there's not a ton of corners here in the Midwest. There's a few, but everyone wants them. There's just not enough. Well, if we need a true corner DB in the portal, well, yeah, we will cast the wide nets and try and do as much homework, but you don't have the relationship beforehand. Everything's a little bit of a uncertainty in recruiting. Not always is it going to be a home run, even though you may think it, but you try to do as much homework on those guys, and that's the true portals. So on those guys, it's based on a true need. Do we think maybe our young guys aren't quite ready? Unfortunately, with the way it works, sometimes the transfer, you have a couple guys that were sophomores that started. You think you're good for a couple of years. Well, a bigger school takes them. Well, now all of a sudden, your need pops up kind of unexpectedly, and those young guys who you thought you still had a year or two to kind of be a backup, develop. Now they get thrown in the fire. Can they handle it? Yes, no. Well, now you got the portal to try and bridge that gap a little bit and things like that. So that's kind of been our approach. I don't think we'll ever be a program that brings in 20 plus transfers in a year. But never say never with how recruiting is and football is changing, but that's kind of our approach with it. And so far, knock on wood, it's been pretty good. And like I said, we want to dominate in high school. And then we have that next layer of transfers that are local kids that we recruited that maybe we lost, whether it was going to a bigger school or another D2 school or went to a smaller school and all of a sudden killed it and grew who knows what, and now they're interested. And then the third version is we had no idea who they were until they got in the portal, and now we're going to build a relationship as quick as possible and do our homework and see if we can get them to be Wildcats.
You talk big about being a high school dominant. What are you guys noticing locally that a lot of schools are doing good with these athletes? Of course, it's always about getting faster, bigger, all the big things like that. But I feel like, and obviously these goes in ranges, but I feel like there's a lot of great football going on around us, whether it is Iowa, whether it is Nebraska. What are you guys seeing from the college level that is being really productive at the high school level that's changing things?
Yeah, I mean, one thing I love, we practice Friday mornings at 6 a.m., whether we're on the road or at home, but more swiftly when we're home. So we can go out and we can be at 10 different games in Omaha, Lincoln, small towns around Nebraska, Iowa. So our staff gets to see more than just the highlight film. We get to see the schemes, the coaching, and the thing I love about here and like we are truly blessed around this part of the country to have great teachers teaching the game of football. I mean, there's some absolute legends, and like you just can see it by the style of play. It might not be like not everyone's got a bunch of D1 guys. Okay, well, and sometimes Class A maybe not so much, but you might have an undersized old lineman. Well, man, he's coached up. He's got great technique. I mean, his first step, he's using his hands, understanding where he's got help and things like that. Well, that's to me is something that stands out compared to when you watch maybe some out of state football. State's not so much around here. Is our kids around here are really well coached and they play within their scheme. They're not just saying, hey, this guy's a better athlete, just tossing the ball and run around and go make a play. Is they got 11 guys working together, using great technique, playing together, and using scheme. And probably the biggest thing I've noticed the last couple of years is I feel like high schools have had pretty similar to college offenses. I think the defense is around here, especially Class A, bigger Class B schools, things like that, are more complex and more going to trick quarterbacks. You can't just line up and play cover 3 every snap because these quarterbacks are too well coached and these coaches are too good at scheming stuff up. You'll give up 50, and that's again a credit to the coaches and how well they do as being teachers and also them not being afraid to change and go out and learn new stuff, whether it's from a different high school coach or college coaches or whatever level it may be. I think it's been the biggest thing that kind of sticks out. Just, again, we're spoiled because we practice Friday mornings. We go out to a bunch of high school games is seeing the diversity and complexness of defenses now in high school has really changed here the last couple of years. Maybe COVID was a good thing. Us coaches didn't have anything to do, and defensive guys just decide, hey, we're going to talk a bunch of ball and not just line up and do these things. And that goes for college too. College defenses are getting a heck of a lot better at stopping stuff. I just read an article that yards per game are way down compared to what they were and things like that. Well, it's just football tends to cycle through, and right now defenses are kind of leading the way.
We'll get back to that offense. That's right. Of course, you look across the way and you're talking about these high school athletes and you're talking about the good. There is also a side that sometimes people forget. Of course, you made a great note of saying when you went to Wayne State, you got to do not just one but two things. You got to play baseball and football, and I think that's some of the art that gets lost because nowadays kids or parents, I don't know who exactly, it's a little mixture of both. They sometimes get into this 24/7 of one sport. How do you think that has helped or hindered different athletes to maybe not reach their potential of who they could be?
Yeah, I mean, I was lucky enough. I was able to do 4 sports, so I definitely lean towards play as many sports as possible. And right now, being a dad, I'm getting faced with my 11-year-old. He loves baseball. Well, I am totally against playing baseball year round. Well, I caved, and he started baseball in January, so he's been playing baseball here now for almost 3 full months, practicing and things like that. And um, I don't know, has it hurt him playing basketball? I don't know. I don't know. I just know I think all sports help, like baseball, okay? Baseball helps you deal with failure. Like, if you hit 400, you're really good. Well, you're failing 6 out of 10 times. Like, it helps you deal with that. I mean, that, like, it seems weird, but I think a lot of times we go back to the transfer thing when things get hard and you have a little bit of failure, like, these just sometimes people just quit and wanna change. Well, baseball, like, that's hitting the ball 4 out of 10 times, you're really stinking good, but you're still not doing it 50% of the time. Wrestling, like, man, you gotta be tough. You gotta be
You're a
tough.
dog. I don't
Yeah,
care what anybody says. You are a dog.
yeah. I mean, it's tough, and those practices are hard. I mean, like it breeds toughness. Basketball, depending on your position, but the vision, the cutting, the moving, the having to react, change direction, the having to react quick and jumping for rebounds, block shot, whatever it may be. I mean, and then the obvious one, which you gotta run track. I mean, like 7-on-7's cool and stuff, but like I gotta admit, I don't get too fired up when a young man says, "Nah, I'm not gonna do tracks. I'm gonna do 7-on-7." Well, like, football is about running, and like if you're a skill guy and everyone says they're really fast, they have these 40 times on the Twitter. Well, the best way to prove it, and you want to improve your recruiting, like, go run 10.8. You're gonna get a bunch of offers because, I mean, shoot, 11.2 is fast to me. So anything, I mean, and then all of a sudden now you're a hurdler. Okay, you're a big guy. Well, you want to show explosion, go throw the shot over 50 feet. Like, that's and two, it's getting you to compete and do it, and you can still lift weights while you do track. I mean, so I mean, yeah, I am a big, and again, everyone's got to do what makes them happy and what they see as fit. And two, I think when you look at 4 sport people, they don't really get burnt out on the sport. You'll see that. I do think football is enough. You can't really do it year round, where we don't get as much burnout. But like, I just see a bunch of baseball, basketball guys. They just do it 24 hours for 300 however many days a year, and it wears them out. And I think there's I joke about my golf game. Like, the best I'm gonna play is the first week out, okay, and then I'm gonna start sucking, and then I'm gonna take about a month and a half off to coach 11-year-old baseball, and I'm gonna be great again, and I'm gonna stink. Well, sometimes you need those breaks to kind of rejuvenate, clear your head, not overthink things. And I think sometimes athletes today don't really get that break because it's all one sport nonstop instead of getting to go experience something else and the different challenges that makes you a better overall athlete, mentally and physically, by just sticking to one sport.
You brought up something in the middle of this that I was gonna hit next anyways, was the 7-on-7. What's the good and what's the thing that kind of scares you with it?
I think good. You're playing football. You're like quarterbacks, defense guys, receivers. You're running routes. You're getting out there. You're competing. The bad part is I feel like sometimes, and not always, but you see clips. It kind of becomes a little bit of a circus. Like in football, like Mike Tyson said it best. Everyone's got a plan until they get hit in the mouth. Well, 7-on-7, you don't really get hit in the mouth. Like quarterbacks got all day. They can sit back there and pat the ball, go through their all 5 different reads. Well, like we got a pretty good old line, and like very rarely do we get through our third read before you have to start getting out on stuff and starting to scramble. Same with wide receivers. Like yeah, there's a few collisions, but you don't have to worry about a guy just erasing you on a dig because they don't have pads on, you don't have pads on. So I think probably that part, I think it can create bad habits because you don't have to worry. Quarterbacks, and you want them to throw in tight windows, but at the same time, you don't want them getting people killed. Well, it can create bad habits there. All of a sudden, you see linebackers dropping 30 yards downfield. Well, like you got to stop the run in real football. And so, I mean, it's kind of that fine line. They're out competing. They're doing something. Like I said, I think it's a good mix. But like, if you tell me you're going to do that instead of track, I'm not saying we're not going to recruit you at all. But like, we're going to know how fast a kid that runs the 100 or the 110s compared to a guy who claims he's fast, and all we have is a little 7-on-7, which we, be honest, don't spend too much time watching for recruiting anyways. So, not saying I'm
I
right.
think
That's just,
no, that's huge for kids to know, and that's what I love about what we do. If we can connect to one athlete, one parent, just it's like you said, it's not a matter of a no. At no time are we saying it's bad, but you guys aren't out there scrolling to see if you could find that 7-on-7 film of
yeah.
one athlete because, like you said, they're not going to get hit in the chin as they're coming across the middle and that linebacker. I mean, we all know don't set that ball in the middle when that linebacker's there. You're going to get your head knocked off, and they can't do that, and they know it. So
But
then they
I am
do.
scrolling Twitter to see the Metro track results. Like that's the thing.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
I think's very important if you are serious about recruiting and like yeah, it's not football, but like again, I like going and watching basketball games just to see how kids compete and how they run and how they jump and how they defend, they move. I mean, like all that stuff is good. It's not just strictly off of film. There's in my opinion more to it than that, and that's kind of how we approach it, I guess.
So, of course, these past 4 years, have been a great time for you. Some good, some stuff where you wanted to improve. What do you think has been the most adversity thing that you've had to overcome as taking the head coaching job that you're starting to see turn into rewards that you're doing now?
I think it's kind of got over it a little bit, but the first couple recruiting classes, not a ton of tradition here at Wayne State. Hey, just being really honest, I played here and was part of some great times, and then it fell off a little bit. And since COVID, we've been able to get it right. But getting that kind of first generation, first 3 or 4 recruiting classes to believe that we can do it here at Wayne State, that we're not just got some crazy vision of making stuff up, that you come here, you buy in, you work your tail off, you take coaching, like it's going to take off. And by getting those first couple classes, well, now all of a sudden, now you go in these high schools, well, yeah, so-and-so is a great player. He went to Wayne State. Like it just changes kind of the perception when you get into recruiting. So that was probably the biggest one was not being afraid to go after the best local talent. I joke around, but it's like if you got a girl you think's really beautiful, but you're afraid to ask her to prom, the answer is always no. Right? She might say yes if you ask her. You don't know. If you don't ask, the answer is always no. Well, same with recruiting. Okay. Well, let's go after the biggest, prettiest, fastest dudes we can find that fit what we're about and go after them hard. And yeah, they could say no, but the answer is always no if we don't. And you never know. And so we've had a few of those guys fall in love with us and say yes, and they've been great players and really helped change our trajectory here since COVID, and which has now led us to talk to even better players because of the foundation those guys have set for us here since COVID. So I think that's probably the biggest one now. Just as a program, we gotta get over the hump. Last few years have been 7-4. This year we finished really strong. Won our last 4. Beat some really good teams handily, physically. Just played really good football. Now we gotta do it for 7 games and not just wait for 7. Excuse me. We gotta do it for the whole season, not just wait for 7 games and to turn it on the last 4, and get in the playoffs and see what we can do there. So right now, that's probably, I'd say, what's been our biggest challenge, and now just getting over that next hump, being a playoff team that's in there every year, not just one that's right on the outside looking in.
What do you think changed mid-season for you guys to start seeing that success? I think people will always think, and I mean, I say this because I'm also someone who works with the Omaha Beef and is a partner of Wayne State. But right now they're 0-3, and people are like in this disbelief. But there's things that can happen that can totally change the trajectory, and it's never over until the final game. What do you think was your guys' thing that you guys overcame?
Well, I think I'll be really honest. I think I let down our team. We had so many seniors the year before that I took some things for granted on how we do things, what our standards were early on, which led us to we didn't play very well the first part of the season. Like, it was, you look back and watch it, like, embarrassing is a strong word, but it's not all who we are or what we're about. And like the one that stood out to me, our first road trip. We didn't know how to travel because we lost so many guys. And I just took it for granted that guys knew, hey, we wear this, we do this, we're on time, blah, blah, blah. So like that first road trip was a disaster, and it's makes sense why that was by far the worst game we played. As far as doing what we're supposed to do and just everything. It was a nightmare. Well, started to realize that. I started getting back to who we are, teaching the small things. And then this word gets thrown around a lot, and I'm not a big fan of it. Culture. Okay. Well, when you're 3-4 going into a bye week, it is real easy for people to start looking for their next home, saying worried about themselves. Where I think, again, I go back to recruiting being all local and guys that are like this, and they want their own do well for themselves, but it's more about sending the seniors out right and doing things like that. That we had a bye week and we just had a team meeting, and I point blank said, guys, we're not losing another game. And if you believe that, we won't. If you guys don't believe it, well, then we went out. We beat Mankato by
You're all good.
beat Mankato by a couple scores. Then we had Concordia St. Paul, beat them handily. Went to Sioux Falls, a really good program, beat them handily. And then we played Augustana, who was top 15 team, and beat them to end our season. And I think it goes back to our leadership in our locker room, but again, having our team be all from, or for the most part, all around here in the Midwest. And just when things get hard, okay, you got to become tough. And our guys became tough. They focused on the little things, which then led us to the big things, to play well and have some big plays and find a way to win those big games.
Being the head coach is just like even just running a household. You got so many plates that you're trying to spin. One's going to slightly fall off. Who helped you get to that understanding to recoup yourself? Were you able to talk with, or maybe even brought it to your attention? Because even sometimes as coaches, we have the blinders up. Like you said, you thought all the seniors that you had last year, everything should transfer. Was there anybody that stuck out to you that even you could have that conversation with? How do you find yourself as the head coach being able to have those conversations with people and take it? Not everybody could take the criticism. Not everybody could take the realness, and even when you have success, that can lead you to another level of success.
Yeah, the crazy one last year was so our we were just coming off Nick Bowen from Bennington was our 4-year starting quarterback, and he got done playing, graduated, and he no job sounded good tips. He's like, you know what? I love being part of the team. I'm gonna join the Army. So he's in the Army, and we're writing each other letters, and I'm kind of lazy. I didn't want to handwrite it, so I'm typing it out. And like he's asking how the season's going and things like that. And like as I write it out, like it started hitting me that like Nick was like one of our best leaders, one of the best leaders, and that's why he's in Army Ranger School, and he's doing that right now. I mean, he's just like those guys are hard to replace. And so he bailed me out because he'd grab people direct them, do whatever. He knew what it took to win. And as I'm writing that, like nothing against our guys now, but like Nick's one of a kind. Well, have I done a good job of filling that gap of him leaving? And it was all self-reflection by me writing a letter, kind of like a journal, basically, of what's going on with our program to Nick, because me and Nick have a great relationship, and I can tell him things, and he could tell me things. And so I was being very truthful, and it just hit me that like I needed to do a better job. I needed to focus on these little things, on how we travel, how we strive. I mean, just as small as details as that was, I did a bad job. And the thing I love about we're very process oriented is like you don't know when the process is going to start loving you back. So after that Northern game, I'm writing them that letter. Like that's when it hit me that I need to get this stuff fixed. Now we didn't have immediate results. We played really well. We beat Moorhead, who was a really good football team. But then we lost a couple of games we quite frankly probably shouldn't have. Well, it took until that bye week for it all to come together and get the results that you want. And again, it's you want to win them all, but I think as a program we're in a better place going through that rough patch now. Made me grow as a coach, made our team grow, our assistant coaches grow, and I don't know if we quite finish on quite the flurry we did if we didn't have that adversity there, the beginning and middle part, to make us change and make us realize that little details matter. Don't be worrying about the big details. The little things will get you a lot further in life than chasing some result. Worry about your daily habits and things like that, and the results will happen.
What I love about this big situation here is just like you said it earlier, the transparency of taking a coaching level to another thing, but also it's helping the program. It's beyond the person. And I think sometimes that's what not it's just how the fastest world is going, and how, like you said, you got 4 kids at all different ages. Some are trying to play sports. You're trying to be the dad, you're trying to be the coach, you're trying to be the mentor, but it takes people who care about the program and who care about you as a coach to reset some things and help you get. I mean, how many coaches probably still write a letter? Like, those things are forgotten, and I'm not saying you're only one. I'm just saying those are things that people forget because everybody knows you could send an email, everybody knows you could send a text. But when you put pen to paper or even to a letter on a computer, because you still have to process it fully, it just changes how the future can go. Of course, you just got done with your guys' spring. You sent the kids, the players off for their Easter weekend. What's going on this off season that's starting to project that you can see helping you guys in this upcoming season?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, and you go back, last year, so 2024, we finished 7-4 as well. Well, the difference was we lost 3 of our last 4. Well, so now you're going into the offseason not feeling so good and things like that. Well, this year, you're still 7-4, but you're coming off 4 big wins and playing really well. So the energy, the effort, like we haven't had to restart anything because our energy and effort's been bad. And morning workouts, weights, spring practice, it's been there. Execution's got to get better as far as spring ball. But as far as that, that's probably what I'm most excited about is our energy and effort to get better, to work hard every day is at an all-time high. And again, it goes back to the last year's seniors that set the foundation for this with finishing strong and not letting the season tailspin in a different direction and finishing 3-8 instead. You finish going 7-4, but then the new generation of leaders of staying on that momentum and having energy no matter how sore, how tired they are. Your mind's a powerful thing. You tell yourself you're going to have fun and have a good day. You probably are. You tell yourself it's a bad day, you don't want to do this, you're probably right. You're not going to give the best effort. You're not going to grow and get better. So that's the thing right now I'm probably the most excited of. We got an Easter break right now. They come back Tuesday, and next Saturday's our spring game in our indoor. But there has never been a lull. The energy and effort has been just a steady climb, getting better and better. And I think that's the exciting part, because spring ball can get monotonous. Just you're beating the crap out of each other for 15 practices. We don't scrimmage. You can scrimmage some, but we don't. I focus more on us than get ready for somebody else. And they've done a great job, young, old, just every day showing up, having the willingness to get better, be a sponge, soak it up, and compete their tails off.
We'll get you out of here on this, Coach. You, of course, got your year coming up quicker than you want to probably here with going into the summer. What is Wayne, Nebraska? What should the fans be looking for, and what's the 2026 season looking like?
Yeah, I mean, I think kind of who we want to be and who we've kind of established. Our defense is going to smack you. Our defense has been one of the best and physical here the last few years, and um, just being aggressive and tackle and stopping the run. Got some big Nebraska boys up front that we're really excited about. That have been playing for us the last couple of years, and so that's kind of defensively. Offense. Last year we had replaced a lot. Well, we get a lot back, so I think kind of what you saw last part of the season will be kind of who we are here going forward. We have really good running back coming back, Dawson Forgy, school record in rushing yards last year and rushing touchdowns. He'll be a senior. Just exciting brand of football that they're going to play hard. They're going to play together. It's going to be physical. I think in our conference, big people beat up little people, and I think we've done a good job recruiting big people so we can have a chance battling the best in our league, which we've shown the last couple of years. And really excited to get it going. And the thing I love about college football is which is kind of dying, unfortunately, in the bigger level, but you get to keep rivalries, and we got to bring back UNK. Unfortunately, they got us last year, but we get another shot at them in Kearney to start the year off, and that's what's so cool about college football is those big rivalry games, and now we're lucky enough to finally get to be part of it again after we took a few years off with it. Going to be exciting fall. Play well, give ourselves a chance. If we can do that, I like our odds to win a lot of games just because our team's tough and they play together and they like each other, and just really excited here. Finish out spring ball, stay healthy, have a good summer, and get here in August and get back to work.
Well, if I don't hit this recruiting, what should the Nebraska preps and the Iowa preps understand about Wayne State with opportunity, and how do they get a hold of you?
Anyway, we're wide open. A phone call, Twitter, Instagram, email. Man, I love recruiting. Our coaches love it. Getting to build those relationships. Like I said, high school recruiting is very important. And you never know. You might be a quarterback in a triple option, but you come to camp and get on campus. I mean, that's the cool part about high school football and football in general. You got a million different ways to do it, and all of them are right depending on what you believe in, Coach. Well, getting those guys here and seeing something and building that relationship, and then getting them here knowing that we're gonna coach you hard. Okay, we love you, and part of love is telling you maybe not what you want to hear, but what you need to hear to get to the next step in your journey in life and become the best version of you. Wayne State's been special to me, and we can get you here, like it can be special for you too, and change your life in an awesome way. So that'd be my message to any guys out there is reach out, get on campus. If you can come to a camp, go to some camps, compete your tails off. Don't be afraid to make a mistake, and just compete because competitive people find a way to be successful in life no matter how talented they are.
Great message, Coach. Thank you again, Wayne State coach Logan Masters, for not only your story, but also your very transparent for those athletes that are out there looking, or a parent that just doesn't know. These are the stories that we like to share. If we can reach one parent, one athlete, and just get you to understand that there's help out there, even if you've never went to college, even if you've never played college football, and they get you help beyond the sport. I think that's the biggest message that we should share with people. But once again, another episode of Wired Axcess Podcast on Heard at One. We can't do it without you. Make sure to like, share, follow, and all those things, and we'll see you next time.